Greetings now. No. I have a topic about mind control games. This topic is not new, but I just repeat, but at the beginning and like every time I want to tell you that I am just a simple citizen in Iraq. I do not have any organization at all anywhere inside Iraq, and this means that this page is in any way. Social media I use while I am inside Iraq does not mean anything but just a way for my voice to reach you, and it is not organized at all, and I am not at all responsible for those who spy on me in Iraq and contradict this. For example, open up a Facebook page and say the same thing, but there is a dirty spy in Iraq who goes against this and does not admit with him, and he makes this page as if it is organized. Of course, one of you may say this is wonderful, but where is the wonderful thing about it? I want the Napoli club to be ignored here, which will happen that this organization will fight this club completely and be dropped completely. So this is not something for me at all, but rather it works completely against my desire. There is something else, as I said, that the problem is in peace. Why? Who records this page and makes it organized? He is the source of danger, but rather the whole danger, and he is a filthy person who invented dirty laws for himself that have no legitimacy, and it is a mixture between gang laws, moral fall, and a lie of love. Of course, the game at the beginning is that this Facebook page will be mine or my organization, although she does not take any orders from me for anything, and if I tell them, change all the laws that you work with, no one is enforced to. I do not know anything about them. It is even more funny that this page will turn directly into an enemy publicly when I do. 1. By opening another page, it is not cancelled, but rather it becomes an enemy. It is interesting that this filthy spy does not stop recording, but continues to spy, and whenever I open a page, it comes like a crow in order to make it an organization in which he plays, and I am not, and the same thing is repeated once I open another. It turns into terrorism, and this is how Iraq filled with terrorism. Civil society in Iraq, but I closed my organization due to financial bankruptcy, but through my experience there is no such thing at all, because I had elements and I used to talk with all of them. Exactly, while the style of this spy is a disaster, as if he is a prostitute who wants to stay with one person and make him against the rest, who also is the one who registered them. Of course, here I am, and what is my role in such a game that it seems he was just a person who is done using it for the purpose of registering members only for them or so-called organizations, and all of them I do not have any authority over them in anything. Of course, this made me relieved of them and the person who registered them. Rather, I in Iraq asked every person who registered his name and made him an organization to go and file a lawsuit against the person who did by registering his name or giving him a position or appointing him, and he does not turn to terrorism or continues to insult me or the countries of the coalition or the United Nations or NATO etc., because this dirty terrorist spy, when he registers any person who lies to him and claims that he is one of these 3 you fall into this trap. They are very fools, or the poor, or from whom the gang wants to take revenge on them. So this issue is similar to that a person is made a director of the police station and he does not know and does not know about this, and thinks, for example, that he is in a love relationship with a girl, or thinks that she is an organization. The voice of God is something else. It is foolishness. So there is no person who becomes our director of an organization or a government department and he does not know the sun of its location, what is its real name, how it works, and who invented the laws in which it also works. The sources of funding for it, who are the management in it, and how the employees are appointed in it. Also, what is the nature of this department's work, means what is its competence. Do you work in politics, security, government, or is it a non-governmental organization or something else? Every manager must know all this in order to start directing his administration after that, so that he will be responsible in the event that the institution fails or mistakes occur. He must also know what the limits of his authority or what role is for him and how much money he takes from his salary or anything else. He has to appoint a secretary for him who knows him and takes orders from him. All these are very simple and well-known things, but unfortunately very much the gang has devised a method that deceives the selection victims, and it makes them not know anything, but makes them believe that this gang is the organization of the voice of God, and it is not permissible to reject any paragraph of its laws, or discuss it, or play with fools the game of love, or try to impose it on the victim in this way so that they make it a scapegoat for the leader of this gang. They spread lies that say the victim is the leader of this gang, and he is the one who registers the officers in it and gives orders in it, and whoever chooses etc. While this is aligned, after this the victims start trying to escape and the chase begins. 4. Act. You make it a scapegoat or the person who registers for them the elements of a scapegoat. The real picture becomes clear, which is that the victims of choice are nothing but people who have been made scapegoats, or a body that Satan, the leader of this gang, exploits only, which is exactly like why the end of the days in which we see Satan exploited Gabriel's body in the beginning, but after his death, the demon spirit came out to enter the body of Arnold, who had no choice but to kill himself to prevent this demon from exploiting his body. Here the same thing as the test victim is just a body that is being exploited by the leader of this gang only by planting a chip for the mind, and through this, the gang leader can see and hear through this body as if he got into it completely. Here we see that the victim of choice is completely nothing and does not own any organization and does not register anyone and does not choose nor give any orders. But even, for example, if it has a different position, I mean a friend to America and the countries of Europe, but this is not recognized by anyone at all, and all those who were registered through her body, whether the victim's family, acquaintances, friends, homes she entered, State Departments, pages on the internet, communications networks, or shops, restaurants, public places etc. are not her at all, and she does not have any authority over them in anything, and she cannot give any order to any one of them at all. But as I said at the beginning, if she wanted to honor the Naples Club, for example, and she forgot herself and thought that she had authority on the Facebook page or entities, she thought she was taking orders from her here. Nobody will do this, but quite the opposite. This club will be dropped, and whoever will do this, it's the Facebook page that has been made organized and which the victim thinks is hers, or she deals with him with love, for example, and does not accept anyone talking about him badly or 6. At. Or do not open another page and think that he will be jealous or hurt, for example, the love that affects his heart, etc. contributes to his farce, or that the victim does not ask him for money, because this will be something that ruins the love. The case of others here. I want to say something. Everyone should understand one thing, which is that when God gives someone any gift or luck, he gives it to him and does not make an evil person a thief to become a guard against him. Of course, I suffered a lot from this thing in Iraq, and I see some fools, they think that I have something or an opinion, or I am an important person in Iraq, or that I have authority over the state or other than the government, but I responded to this when I said one thing, and they gave me an amount of 20 million dinars and all laws must be changed. Of course, no one has implemented anything of this. With this, the gang revealed and knew that it was all just a lie, just also so that he played it that I am having it. This is also a lie. Or a guard for him. For example, Annika, I have a sibling relationship with my brothers in the coalition countries in Iraq, and this is really a gift from God and something real, but the tricks of this organization are all just a lie, so I am on every page of social media and even everywhere in Iraq. I repeat that I am just a simple citizen, and I do not have any organization, neither position, nor am I a tribal leader, nor do I work in the unseen, nor do I make myself the Messiah, nor do I have any money or property, nor do I work in government, politics, or security, and I am not responsible for any spy that lies and forges any of his class, just as I am not responsible for a spy who exploits a mind control chip that has been implanted. 7. At. Ali without any approval or legitimacy, and they started registering everyone I know or my family, in the case of eating and drinking, taking something, money, or clothes, or when I think or speak, etc. And this gang leader is playing a game that he is my secretary, a guard, or an agent, and he started and created a gang that he leads only according to laws for his legitimacy. He invented it for himself and started playing what he wanted, as if he were a person who had a herd of cows and divided them into two halves, one big and the other small, or he made half claiming to be with me and the other half against me, while both of them are against me and there is no authority over them, both of them, and this dirty spy is the one who leads them, both of them, and they both know the same laws, the dirty tricks that he invented for himself, and their records in his hand is only, of course, there are dirty tricks he plays with, walk on the road he wants, which are tricks of pressure by waves of torture with mind control, or tricks of cutting off the electric current, or launching electronic planes, or playing a game similar to a children's game is to catch a doll with his left hand and he says it is mine or with me, and he holds another doll in his right hand and says it is against me or an enemy. Notice the farce, both of them are in his hand. So he makes the doll in his right hand win over the one in his left hand, or takes and steals all her money and property that she has, and after that he jumps like a homosexual prostitute child and says that I lost. For example, is not a despicable person a terrorist? Both of them are in his hand. The only way to deal with him is to disown him and from the dolls that are all in his hand. They are all a herd of cows in his hand only. 8 out. Of course, for the person who has management experience, it is difficult for this gang to play a game with him to make him a manager who has no authority in anything, and they make a secretary or guard for him who does everything and what he wants only and not what this cartoon manager wants, which is just like a picture they wrote on it the name of the manager. They are looking for such a model too. There is another method. For example, I have 10 mobile devices and each of them has a feature that differs from the other and I need them all, and when I use one of them, this of course does not mean that I have to throw the other 9, but all of them are mine and all of them are need. But the situation is very different with us. This gang gives this 10 to me first, all of which are not mine at all, but even the one I use is not mine and the gang plays a game that I chose and all the remaining 9 turned into an enemy. The reason here is that it is not mine, while in the first case it was all mine and when I use it alternately or take one of them, this does not mean that I lost the 9 or turned and became not for me here. I know management and I know the duties of the manager, but I know the laws well and also I know God also. I have scientific information and I know all mind control chips that can be spied on a person too. I know V2K, which is microwave tricks and others, and it is the one who sends sounds, not at all. How much God also I know that such technology can impose dreams on a person, also can change the emotion so that the person becomes thinking bad thoughts even at people who respect them very much, etc. are among the tricks for this reason. I know the tricks of this organization easily. I also know how to know that something is not mine or not mine, and this is very simple. Anything that you have no authority over is not. 9. You do not have to distinguish between what God gives and what He gives to people, meaning anything from God. You cannot discuss anything about it, while giving from people is very possible and God did not authorize people at all here. Iraq, this organization came to you here, and why did it not come to someone else, or did it go to fools other than you, and you do not know and think that it came to you with a board? To your own, or you are a special person, or you have a talent, etc. Here, even if you are like this, there is a difference between what God gives and what He gives people here. If it is humans are the ones who gave you this organization, then you are not a manager over it, and they are the one who controls it, and you are not at all. Whereas if it was from God, you are the one who controls it. You can control it and change all its laws. He controls all of it, not you, and they are the ones who dismiss you or keep you too. They appointed someone who spies on you in order to make himself your secretary here. Every manager must know everything about the thing that he becomes a manager on. Every person knows his success points and knows the points of failure, meaning, for example, over there his failed laws must be discussed. As for his unseen play, this, as I said, is not from God at all, but from people. From all this explanation, I want to clarify a very important point, which is to prove to you all that the victims of the choice are nothing like a column on which only a camera has been placed and they have no role in any way. And they just run away to get rid of this camera or the column role in this terror play. 10. The test victim in Iraq is not a religious leader and is not the approved one. Rather, there are dozens of selection victims who have been made scapegoats for Satan, who looks like a lizard who cuts her tail with us. A danger comes for her to escape and occupy the enemy with him, thinking that when he sees that he is moving here, the victim of the test is the tail, that those outside this terrorist organization think that he is the leader of this organization or its director. The reason is that all the elements of this organization are the ones who spread this, and all of them say everywhere that the victim of choice is the leader in order to protect their true leader, who is the one who exploits the victim's body, while they know that the victim is the choice is nothing, meaning that this game is something that also resembles a leader of a country who makes a person similar to him in shape and gives him orders to wander in separate areas so that any danger that comes to him will not affect anything on the leader. Of course, very unfortunately, I have found many victims who are fools who have tricks, and they acted as if they had become something, or that God gave them an organization, and they became leaders, symbols, or role models, and they did not ask themselves what this organization is and what kind of work is it. Is it politics, security, government, gang, etc.? Where does it have financial funding, as well as who set laws for it? Where are the records of it, etc.? And all this is because they are just fools who do not know anything about anything. Mind control games are technology, and voices, dreams, etc. are not from God either, but they understand anything about management and management laws, or what is the manager's duty and what he should learn and act as well. They do not have any knowledge of the law in order to 11 that. In order for them to know that their staying in it will make them outside the law, I mean, if they do not declare their righteousness from it also. I noticed that the level of stupidity of some of the victims reached something similar to the person who found the singer frog, so that they believe that they have obtained a precious treasure and they must hide this matter or stick to it, or even they interpret any advice to them as envy or hatred for them because they got this valuable thing. But more than this, even when they know that there are many like them, they published their experiences and revealed the truth, but they think that what happened to these people is because they did not get the treasure. Means each one of these fools think that only the one who obtained this organization is the voice of God and the others did not get it, or he is only chosen by God. Of course, the reason for this is firstly because they are very foolish, and the other reason is the tricks of this organization with them through the internet or communication networks, or by using the victim's family and friends, so that the victim is drowning in this world of delusion and deception as well. There is another reason, which is that most of the victims are the poor and the weak, who, for example, have no importance in the home of their family or their families. They are the ones who sold them to this. The gang, of course, is an important note. All the selection victims are used by their families and friends, and this is how this organization relies on its work with every victim, but it was something hidden. I personally strongly encourage everyone to see YouTube and other social media, except for Facebook, because it is not published. The truth is absolutely, but you will find the victims completely wrong information in it, and you may find lies saying that the army or security forces in Europe and America are the ones doing this, while all this is a lie, that it is a terrorist intelligence organization from Iraq is the reason. 12. Also, the victims will discover that this gang does not represent security at all, but rather they are the ones who threaten security, and the illusion of terrorism means, why does security come to the victim of choice? Did you become Sherlock Holmes, for example, when I went to the Bible church, for example, in Iraq? Nothing is more difficult than for a person to get a job in the police or security, and this needs mediation or payment of sums of money while the victim of the security choice is running after her. This is also nonsense. Do you work as a volunteer policeman for free, for example? Doesn't she have to have a monthly salary, as is the case for any member of the security or police, or has she been made an imposed security agent? Spy slides were placed on it so that it became like a security camera, meaning wherever the security goes, it looks with it, even about personal things, or sits with people who are friends with it, and if one of them spoke against the government or another person, this organization went and spent money to communicate what he said, and thus, strife and problems would occur. And all because of the presence of a victim of choice who will become persona non grata, because whoever spies on her has become his work, spreading discord among people, meaning as soon as someone speaks against another person, this organization delivers this. Is this the work of security? For example, also, Iraq is a country that has become the first country in corruption in the world, and most of the people suffer from poverty while this organization is playing with money. About the use of these weapons, we will find a lot of money. Of course, this matter is the most important secret, and no one dares to reveal it, but no one in all parts of Iraq is able to open his mouth up to 13 years, and this gang steals everything. I noticed. I am just a simple citizen only in Iraq. I do not give any orders at all, and I am in Iraq, and I am not responsible for any party that spies on me and says that I give orders to her, or the leader of this gang plays his famous game of making himself a secretary to me and giving orders to his gang members to play a game Garden the Thief, which is a famous game, due to the fact that every terrorist and thief is a member of this organization, and also there is a group of liars in it. They have been made to play a role. I am talking about weapons for mind control. I find that there is a game which is that this devil plays with this sword, that he makes a group of his own that has these weapons and makes them play a role. They are accountable to the mind control but is also subordinate to him, and after that nothing happens but the harm is increased with these weapons only. It means that it is a farce that a family member is made to play the role of holding the rest of his dirty family members accountable like him, and this is in Iraq, and this organization is as if it does not allow any party to hold its members accountable except for a dirty game. Because she has a special group to be held accountable, while these are just tricks and quirks. Just another thing, which is that whenever I report about them, I will become of them, meaning they will make when they have a position with them, or I have a position with them, or half of the organization, or I am a tribal leader, or conservative, or I represent a political figure, or I represent the elders, etc. They escape from any penalties. Also, they use the presence of a mind control chip as if it is considered to work with them while it has no legitimacy. There is an important note about this gang, which is that it claims that the victims of choice know they have, but they do not say whether they are given a salary or not. 14. Of course, there is no salary, it is just a place of residence, or some old clothes, or some leftover food, or love. If you hurt a person working with a gang in exchange for a love, or give him money that is not enough to buy clothes even, and also after begging him or begging, this is not work at all, but what happens they try to expel the victim. For example, they give orders to the victim's family to expel the victim from the house in which he lives with them, or he goes to a filthy scum that he thinks are his friends, and these also are given orders. For example, not to meet him, or at the door is not told them they will not go out, or claim that they are not present, or when he calls them on the phone, no one responds to him. They also play the same game on the internet with him or close his Facebook page, and this indicates that they kicked him out, or they make a video cutter. For example, start working or other things that they control, or he goes to a scum that he thinks is a friend who will say to him that he is busy, or he leaves him and goes, or incites homosexuals to him, because these members of this organization all have homosexuals and every one of them considers himself an organization, and every organization in it requires the presence of the homosexual section. As for their whereabouts, they are all someone has made his home, for example, become an organization or a place for him, or perhaps even a ways to contain her. He made it an organization. The other problem is that they have laws that do not have any legitimacy and are not declared. For example, they consider talking to them or visiting any one of them, or eating and drinking and taking something from them as if it is belonging to them, or taking clothes, or they make the victim's family with them, and their home becomes an organization or its synagogue not declared, and the victim does not know this or even think about them, or that this person's clan becomes with them, and thus he will find himself registered for them without knowing this, or entering a governmental department or passing control. 15. Police officers are sitting with people and asking him questions that seem very normal. For example, how old are you? What is your academic achievement? Or are you married? What do you do, or where do you go? Etc. All are normal questions, but they mean they have laws of affiliation with them. Of course, they do this because of the mind control segment planted on the person, or even without them, and after this you find yourself becoming one of them, and a number is also given to you when you go to the church and you only want to pray while this is a trap, and they will record you, etc. from fraud methods. And for this reason we see that the victim will not find any competent authority that will stand beside it, because this organization considers itself a recognized party, and it is the one who lies and claims that the victim works with it here. Corruption and failure with everything in Iraq made this organization succeed. For example, when the victim submits a complaint against them to the intelligence services here, this organization contacts this party and tells her that the victim who works for it, and after this you will find that the intelligence services have become a track for you or with them on you, meaning that something resembles a group of security agencies, each of which is different from the other, but one does not work against the other here. The victim has become part of this. For an organization that considers itself a security body as well, but above the law, the victim's position becomes like a soldier at odds with an officer in a military unit, and this officer has the right to punish the soldier here. All this is because of illegal laws, which are fraud of this organization. Nobody holds them accountable and tells them, for example, why is this he does not receive any salary, or his name is present and he does not receive any salary here. Notice that it is a corrupt organization itself, its leader is a terrorist thief and also all of its branches are one who steals the other, and the more funny thing is that it is a gang also. I mean, does anyone expect there to be trust in it?